That's why who knows what's going to happen up here, right? Hopefully they'll love us and say, oh my gosh, you guys are the greatest thing ever.
Is it Jenna?
Sierra.
Sierra.
Yeah, Jenna, Sierra. She'll answer.
And you see how the screen, how it tilts
Perfect.
down?
And you're live.
Hey guys, where are we? Facebook, Instagram?
And YouTube.
And YouTube. Hi guys, Dr. Joe here. This is my set. This is where I do our TV show. And for the first time ever, we're going to live stream our TV show, which is kind of cool.
That's good.
So if you have questions, I can't do it, but we're going to do two 25-minute segments. So if you have questions, send them in. Garrett's behind the screen there. And at the break, we can answer just a few questions for you. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can do that. And if we don't get your questions, you can always go to our website, drjoe.com, and we're more than happy to send us questions there. Brittany's here, our big producer, the big shot. Hi, Brittany. We're live streaming today.
Oh, hi.
Come on out and say hi.
All right.
This is Brittany, who's
Hi,
also a big
guys.
radio star on Mark Aram's show.
Give me a fist bump.
Boom, there we go. This is Brittany.
Hi, guys.
She's my producer, she's my boss. And she's also on, I heard you on Aram, you were awesome on Aram.
Yeah.
Is that like a regular
thank
thing
you.
now?
Yeah, we do it every Friday.
That's so cool. Just
I get to let him know what to do on the weekends.
Right.
He doesn't tell me.
That's right, darn it. So you were great though. So
Thank
anyway.
you. Appreciate it.
Anyway, so that's our boss, so we gotta
Bye.
be nice to her. All right, we ready? We got Jerry on the camera,
I'm ready.
Sierra on the teleprompter, Garrett on the cameras, and Brittany hanging out with Sierra. Talking about us probably, right? Yeah, a bunch of jerks they are up there. How do you tolerate those guys?
Oh, this is really cool. They have like a built-in napkin or tissue dispenser.
Oh, that's smart. So that when you're giving your speeches and stuff, that's pretty cool. Oh, Jerry even gets Garrett a chair. Oh man, this is what happens when you work with the best of the best here at WSB. So.
All right, we ready?
All right, Jerry, we're ready, man. Give me my clock. Don't start my clock for me.
All right, let me start this.
Okay, Sierra, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
All right, we are rolling.
Okay, ready to rock.
And we're counting down.
Hey folks, Dr. Joe here. Very fun show today. We're going to be talking about the food-romance connection. Now this is one of my most popular lectures. I've been doing this lecture now for probably about 20 years. And it's an interesting topic because we're going to talk about how food affects your love life. And the reason this is such a popular lecture is so many people, most of you, have questions, but you don't know who to ask. And so today we're going to answer a lot of your questions for you as to how food affects your love life, what would be a typical romantic dinner. And most people would think of the typical romantic dinner of maybe like steak, baked potatoes, sour cream, cheesecake, bread and butter, coffee, maybe with sugar, some artificial sweetener in there. Maybe, I don't know, a lot of people do this, maybe an after dinner smoke or maybe some illicit things afterwards. So let's talk about what happens if you do have a dinner like that and what happens when you put it in your body. So that's what's going to be fun today. If you're first time tuning in, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. I'm board certified in chiropractic, orthopedics, pain management, double board certified in nutrition, BS in nutrition, retired dietitian, award-winning author. My radio show is, I believe, the #1 health and wellness radio show in the world right now. Obviously, we do television as well. I've been on the Dr. Oz show, and so I've been in practice for almost 35 years. So a lot of these things we're talking about is just years and years of accumulated knowledge to talk about how the body works and how you, today's show, can have a better love life. So let's start out with a typical dinner, maybe like steak and lobster. Now steak, very heavy protein, large consumption of energy. And this is the key, only 17% of a protein in a steak is actually usable. You only need about 8% of your total caloric intake as protein. Because the big question people say to me all the time, well, Dr. Joe, I'm a vegan. Where do you get your protein from in your diet? Your body only needs about 8%. Now, some of that protein in a steak, up to 17%, is actually, you can use it. The rest of it is wasted. So when you put that much protein in your body has to detoxify that protein. And protein is an acid. So when a steak gets broken down in your stomach, gets into your blood system, it has to be filtered out through your liver and your kidneys, putting a major stress on your liver and your kidneys. And years ago, I didn't see as many kidney patients as I do today. When I first started in practice, hardly saw any patients with kidney problems. Now, about 2 or 3 patients a week come into our offices with stage 3, stage 4, stage 5 kidney failure. Wow. And a lot of that has to do with sugar, and it has to do with protein. So steak, very hard to digest. Now, romance is the #1 consumer of energy. Digestion is #2. So the more energy you use for digestion, the less you have for romance. Now what's going to happen is meat is going to sit in your colon and it's going to rot. It's going to putrefy actually. So if you eat a heavy protein, it's going to sit in your colon, it's going to putrefy, and it's going to give off horrible gases. Now when it comes to romance, certainly gas is not something that you want in a romantic environment, most of you I guess. So meat is going to cause some big problems there. So I really want you to consider not eating meats, especially if you're going to have a romantic dinner. Also, most commercial meats are loaded with steroids, hormones, chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, genetically modified foods, saturated fats. Saturated fats clump your red blood cells together. When you clump red blood cells together, they can't carry oxygen properly. And so what happens is you don't get oxygen to your body. Now when it comes to romance, we're going to talk about this a little later too, circulation is everything. You have to have good circulation. And if you're eating heavy saturated fats like meats, dairy products, animal products, it's going to clump the red blood cells together. It's going to clog up your circulation. And if you we don't have this anymore, it's been banned, but we had things called hydrogenated oils. Hydrogenated oils, when they get into the body, can cause real serious damage to your blood vessels. And when the blood vessels get damaged, the body lays down cholesterol. And when the cholesterol lays down, it clogs up the arteries. So remember, circulation, when it comes to romance, circulation is everything. Now, you've met people like this, and you meet the person, and they seem really nice, maybe they're really handsome, or really pretty, or really charming, you're really excited to meet them, and you shake their hand, you get close to them, and they have the most god-awful breath. Now, that'll really put a damper on your romance, rotten breath. But there's two types. One, it smells like rotten teeth. Two, smells like bathroom. Keep it clean here. That's the food rotting in the colon. And every time I come near somebody and their breath smells like a toilet, I know right away they've got digestive problems. They're not breaking down their food properly. And so we need to get the body digesting the food properly to get it through the system so it doesn't sit there and essentially rot. Also, meat is high in acid, so it robs the body of calcium. When you put acid in your body uses calcium to neutralize those acids. And so if you're eating a lot of meats and dairy products and acidy foods, the body is giving up calcium to neutralize the acids. You need calcium to relax. So when it comes to romance, there's two types of nerves. The sympathetic nerves speed you up. The parasympathetic slow you down and relax you. And you want to be in that relaxed state when it comes to romance. And if you're robbing the body of calcium, that can prevent you from getting into that deep, relaxed state. So it's really important you be careful about that. And you can take calcium supplements, but that's treating a symptom, not treating the cause. And there are bad calcium supplements and good calcium supplements. Calcium carbonate, I'm not a big fan of. Calcium citrate or lactate, okay, but here's the thing. You don't need more calcium, you need less acid. So when you stop putting the acid foods in your body, that's a much better thing. So when it comes to a romantic dinner, if you're going to have a steak or any animal product, very heavy, using up a lot of energy, robs the body of calcium, rots in the colon, clogs you up, bloats you, causes gas, not something that really is too romantic. So now we're starting to think, wait a minute, maybe my typical romantic dinner that I've always pictured isn't that romantic after all. Well, good news is I'm going to tell you what a good romantic dinner should consist of. I want you to try it. I think you're going to be very happy with my results because everyone is. So, all right, so we had a steak. I wouldn't have a steak, but you had a steak. So what else is going to go with your steak? And a glass of wine, right? Got to have a glass of wine. What happens is wine reduces your body's ability to produce testosterone. Now, testosterone is your sex drive hormone for men and women. So testosterone, really important. Reducing testosterone, not a good idea. Now, wine might relax you, but it decreases your ability to have stimulation, sensual stimulation. You don't want that. You want to be able to experience the sensuality of romance, not dull it. Also diuretic. Diuretic means what? Makes you pee. May not be fun if you got to get up and pee all the time. And here's the thing. You need blood. We said circulation is everything. You need good blood. And blood is made of a lot of water. So if you're urinating out, peeing out a lot of your fluids, the blood becomes more concentrated, doesn't flow as smoothly. So you might think wine gets you sexy. It really doesn't. It might reduce some inhibitions, but from a physiological standpoint, not a good idea. So what we're talking about today, folks, is a romantic dinner, what you consider a romantic dinner, and why what you probably would consider a romantic dinner really isn't. So we're going to have our steak. We had our wine. Maybe let's go into baked potato. Baked potato, maybe some sour cream and butter. Now, potatoes have something called complex carbohydrates, which could be a good source of energy, but and also the potatoes would be the precursor to something called serotonin. Now let's talk about the neurotransmitters in the brain. We got to do this when we talk about romance. I know it's very clinical, but this is how it works. Your stomach's job is to take proteins and break them into something called amino acids. Now, the amino acid tryptophan combines with vitamin B6 and creates a chemical called 5-HTP. 5-HTP becomes serotonin. Serotonin is your happy neurotransmitter. If someone is depressed, if someone is ADD, if somebody is anxious, even suicidal, it's usually a serotonin issue. You're either not making enough serotonin or you're not utilizing the serotonin properly. So if we can get the body to make more serotonin, good deal. So digestion is the starting point for serotonin because digestion breaks proteins into amino acids to produce the neurotransmitters. Tyrosine, an amino acid, becomes dopamine. Dopamine gives you what? Pleasure. And so we want to have serotonin and dopamine when it comes to romance. And if your digestive system isn't breaking proteins into amino acids to produce the neurotransmitters, you can't experience the pleasure fully. So it's really important that your digestive system is working properly. So you eat a piece of meat, okay? That piece of meat is going to sit in your stomach for about 6 hours and break down until it passes into the small intestine, if your stomach is working properly. Most people's aren't. Then you throw a baked potato on top of it. Baked potato is a carbohydrate. Carbohydrates break down very quickly, maybe an hour or two. So the steak is sitting there for 6 hours. The potato is now on top of the steak for 2 hours. It can't pass until the steak passes, and those carbohydrates in an acid environment can actually start to ferment. Not a good idea. You're producing an alcohol in your digestive system. Not something you want to have. So I don't recommend mixing simple carbohydrates or complex carbohydrates like potatoes with a heavy protein like animal products because they just can't digest properly. And they sit in the colon, and when they sit in there, they give off gases, and we talked about that earlier, not really romantic. So if you're going to have a potato, here's the rule on this, make sure it's organic. And the reason is, if it grows underground and this soil has been sprayed with pesticides and chemicals and herbicides, that underground vegetable, whatever it is, potato, carrot, is going to be absorbed. Those chemicals are going to be absorbed, and we don't want that. So if you're going to do anything that grows underground, I recommend organic only, especially if you're going to eat the skin. So potato, I think you should eat the skin. I love potato skins. But if you're going to eat the skin of an apple, potato, anything you're going to eat the skin of, always, always, always has to be organic. Or you're going to have to wash it, or better yet, peel it. That's important. Digress for a second. If you ever see an apple, commercial apple, nice and shiny, here's a little trick I want you to do. Get a glass bowl, put a shot glass in the middle of it, and put the apple on top of the shot glass. Picture it so far? Then I want you to get some boiling water and pour it over the apple. And you're going to see the wax just melt off the apple. Why is that a problem? Well, the wax is bad, but what we do is we spray the apples with chemicals, and then we pick them, dip them in wax, and seal the chemicals in. So that's another reason you don't want to be eating the skin, kind of back with the baked potato thing. So if you're going to eat the skin of something, it always has to be organic. Anything on the ground has to be organic. Now we're going to put butter and sour cream on our potato, because that's how we like our potatoes. Now, these are the building blocks for something called estrogen. Estrogen is the antagonist of testosterone. It fights testosterone. So what is testosterone and what's it doing in your body? Testosterone gets your sex drive hormone. It makes you romantic. It also builds muscles. And it helps your blood vessels. Your blood vessels are muscles. So you want to get testosterone to build healthy muscles, not just your biceps and your triceps, but how about your blood vessels? How about your colon? How about your digestive system? Excuse me. So we need to have strong muscles. We get strong muscles by having a lot of testosterone. Fats and estrogens will be counteracting that, the bad fats, the animal fats. And also those animals, if you're eating commercial animals, are usually fed estrogen-like compounds to make them fatter. Now let's talk about fat for a second if we're talking about romance. Fat produces estrogen. Estrogen causes you to lay down fat, which causes estrogen, which causes you to lay down fat. So when you're fat, it's hard to lose weight. I know that sounds silly, but I used to be fat, so I can say that. So it's hard to lose weight when you're fat because your body has the estrogen in it being produced by the fat cells. So that's why it's very, very important to lose weight, not just because you want to look pretty, but because it's producing estrogen. Estrogen is a growth hormone. And if you have abnormal cells in your body, like cancer cells, it can actually make it worse. Now, fat can clump your red blood cells together, we talked about that earlier, and prevent good circulation. Remember what we said, when it comes to romance, circulation is everything. So if you have clogged arteries or clumped red blood cells, not a good idea. And once again, those animal products like the butters and the cheeses and the yogurts and the ice creams and anything that is a commercial animal product is probably going to have steroids, chemicals, hormones, antibiotics, pesticides, herbicides. These are all chemicals that act like estrogen, counteracting testosterone. Not a good thing. Now, folks, if you're just tuning in, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. I'm a chiropractor. I'm board certified in several areas, including chiropractic, orthopedics, pain management, nutrition. And so when patients come in our offices, we want to get them well. And we're talking a lot about chemistry here, but I want to go off on a tangent here. We said circulation is everything. What controls circulation? The nervous system. So the brain is sending messages down your spine, out your nerves to every cell in the body. So there's a nerve that goes to your arm and your leg and your heart and your lungs, your liver, but also to your sex organs. And so if you have a pinched nerve going to an organ, that organ can't work properly. So if I have a pinched nerve in my lower neck, that might affect my heart and lungs. If I have a pinched nerve in my mid-back, it might affect my pancreas. If I have a pinched nerve in my low back, very common place to have pinched nerves, it's the nerve to the colon, reproductive organs, and bladder. So now you might see things like gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, urinary problems, romantic issues, along with neck, low back pain, leg pain, and hip pain. So if you have a pinched nerve, those nerves control certain organs. So when it comes to romance, patients come to us all the time, men and women. Doc, something's not right. It ain't working like it used to. It doesn't work at all. I always check the nerve supply in the low back to the organs. So if you have back pain, leg pain, hip pain, knee pain, ankle pain, headaches, numbness, tingling, folks, that's a warning sign. It's telling you that something's wrong. And if you do have that, I want you to come see us in our offices. We have offices in the Atlanta area, Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We would love to be your doctors. We want to get your nervous system working. We want to get your digestive system working so you can break your proteins into amino acids and everything else. And we want to get your diet right. So we're talking about diet today, things you probably don't want to do when it comes to romance. And later on, we're going to talk about what you should be doing when it comes to romance. But if you're serious about wanting to get well, if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, not just for romantic issues, but neck pain and back pain, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. You can make an appointment right online. You can call us from the website. We want to be your doctors. So I want you to stop suffering. The biggest complaint I get is, why didn't I do this sooner? So if you're serious about wanting to get well, go to my website, drjoe.com. Make an appointment right now. Don't put it off. You're going to forget. Not just for you, your friends, and your family, and your children. drjoe.com. We got a ton of archive podcasts there as well. If you like what you're hearing, we have tons of other topics there. So we're talking today about the food-romance connection and how food affects your love life. And we're kind of going through what you might consider a romantic meal. So let's talk about coffee and sugar, artificial sweetener. Coffee increases something called homocysteine. Homocysteine can clog up your arteries. It's part of the process that causes the arteries to get clogged up. If the arteries are clogged up, you have less blood flow to your erogenous zones. Once again, blood flow is everything. Circulation is everything. The nerves control the circulation, so you have to have good nerve supply and good blood supply. And we talked earlier, if you have a pinched nerve, it might cause pain and organ malfunction. But here's the thing with anatomy. The nerves and the blood vessels wrap around each other. So if the nerves and blood vessels are wrapping around each other, if you pinch a nerve, you're also pinching a blood vessel. You have to have the circulation. And if you're eating things that are going to clog up the arteries, like coffee, not a good idea. Coffee is an acid. Acid robs the body of calcium. We talked about that earlier. Calcium helps you to relax. And romance is something you do in a parasympathetic nervous system state or a relaxed state. You don't have romance when you're getting shot at, okay? Sympathetic speeds you up, parasympathetic slow you down. We want to get you into that parasympathetic mode. Coffee's a diuretic, makes you pee, makes you sweat, makes you stink. You may have to excuse yourself in the middle of romance because you have to go to the bathroom. Now, if you put sugar in there, sugar weakens your immune system. In my one book, Prescription for Extreme Health, we have a chapter on this. And sugar weakens your immune system. And if you have a white blood cell, on average, that white blood cell can kill about 14 bad guys or pathogens before it dies. If you drink as much sugar as a can of soda, that same white blood cell can only kill one pathogen before it dies. Wow. So you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to go out for dinner, I'm going to have some wine loaded with sugar, maybe I'm going to have a soda loaded with sugar. Not a good idea. Now, sugar will spike your energy and then you'll crash. Not a good idea. Now, aspartame is a very popular artificial sweetener. I don't like that one. I'm going to cover aspartame in depth. Let me talk about sucralose for a second. Sucralose, the little yellow packet, sucralose is a chlorinated hydrocarbon. When you put a chlorinated hydrocarbon into your body, it stimulates your estrogen receptor sites. Estrogen counteracts testosterone. Estrogen causes the body to lay down fat. Not a good idea. And this is why every study I've ever read, the more diet sodas you consume, the more you gain weight. Because it doesn't help you lose weight, even though it doesn't have calories, it affects you from a hormonal level. Now, aspartame, I call this the kiss of death, because number one side effect from aspartame is headaches. And of course, what's the joke? I got a headache. Not tonight, dear, I have a headache. So a lot of people will do artificial sweeteners, and it's in over 8 1,000 products, 6,000 products. Don't quote me on that. It's a lot of products. And so you may be putting artificial sweetener into your body and having headaches and not realizing that that piece of gum, that mint that you had, that soda, that yogurt that you ate is actually the cause of your headaches. So I want you to consider that. Cut out the artificial sweetener. Aspartame is also a vasoconstrictor. What happens is it causes the blood vessels to constrict. What do we talk about? When it comes to romance, circulation is everything. So aspartame vasoconstrictor, cutting off the blood supply. It's also called a neurotoxin or excitotoxin, and it causes the brain to fire faster than it's supposed to and can literally burn out your brain. Not a good idea. So people always say, Dr. Joe, where do I start? When it comes to health, what do I start with? I talk about the 7 deadly sins: alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. Of the 7, if you had to start with one, I want you to start with the artificial sweetener. I want you to get the artificial sweetener out of your life. Now, there are plenty of substitutes for sugar, which we talked about, and artificial sweeteners. There's things like stevia. Try to do organic stevia if you can. Stevia is a natural sweetener. It's a plant. In the springtime, go into your big box stores where they have all the plants laid out for your garden, and a lot of them carry stevia now. Because it grows, it's a ground cover. It grows very well. And the leaves are really small, like the top, maybe your thumbnail. That's how big the leaves are. Here's what I want you to do. Don't tell anybody I told you to do this. Go in there, take a leaf off, and chew it. You're going to be amazed how sweet it is. Crazy sweet. So stevia would be a good choice. Lohan is a good choice. Xylitol would be a good choice. Take too much of it, you'll get diarrhea, so don't take too much of that. So the sweeteners might be a good choice. Natural sweeteners, as opposed to the sugars or the artificial sweeteners. But I'm begging you, give up the artificial sweeteners. In fact, a lot of the soda companies now are pulling away from using the artificial sweeteners, and they're going more toward stevia. In fact, the 2 major brand names of stevia, I won't say them, you probably know what they are now owned by the 2 major soda companies. So the soda companies are realizing the artificial sweeteners got a bad rap, they're not good for you, the research is very clear you don't want to do them, so the companies now are going towards stevia. And you'll see, Dr. Joe predicts, and Dr. Joe is very seldom wrong, I predict that you're going to see artificial sweetener, natural sweeteners, stevia and things like that in your diet sodas in the next 5 years. And you're already starting to see one of them, one of the big companies, they now have it with half stevia and half cane sugar. So what does that mean? Let's go into something called high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup, when it gets into your body, has to be converted into glucose. So fructose is a type of sugar, glucose, maltose, galactose. If your body's going to use it as a fuel, the body has to use it in the glucose form. So if you put fructose or high fructose corn syrup in your body, it has to be converted into glucose. Now, high fructose corn syrup is 55% fructose, 45% glucose. So you're using some of it, 55, 45, right? You're using some of it as glucose, but in the process of converting fructose into glucose, the body produces something called uric acid. Uric acid gets in your joints and it hurts. Now we're talking about romance tonight. One of the big things, we're going to talk about this later if we have time, is pain. If you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, what's the last thing you want to do? You don't want any romance. And so fructose converts into uric acid gets in your joints and it hurts. So what do we have to do? We have to then maybe curtail our romantic activities because you're in pain. As chiropractor, again, my team of doctors, we try to get you out of pain, and we work with the diet as well. But that's not the worst part when it comes to romance. Fructose converts into uric acid. Uric acid prevents the body from producing nitric oxide. Nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels. It's a vasodilator. What do we want? Vasodilation. I have several supplements I've created. One of the more popular, well, they're all popular, but we have a nitric oxide support. It's on the website, drjoe.com. And the nitric oxide support, when you take it, opens up the blood vessels. And I can't tell you how many men and women have come to me over the years and said, Dr. Joe, don't ever stop making that stuff. Oh my God. From a romantic standpoint, but also because it opens up the blood supply to the brain, the arms, the legs, the digestive system. So nitric oxide, really important. High fructose corn syrup prevents the proper production of nitric oxide. So from a supplement standpoint, when it comes to romance, we're going to go to a break real soon, so let me cover this. I would recommend Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source for everyone, not just for romance, but for everything. It's the minimum amount of nutrients your body needs every day. And again, we want to function at our peak performance. And so Super Greens and Essential Source, absolutely positively, I think everyone should be taking that every day. It's on the website, drjoe.com. They're 2 powders. They taste great. I mix them together with coconut milk or almond milk. You can make a smoothie with it. Off the chart good. Nitric oxide opens up the blood vessels, which is very important because you need good circulation. Vitamin D keeps the immune system strong. When it comes to romance, there's the risk of contracting diseases. So I'm not saying this is a prevention, but if your immune system is stronger, you're less likely to contract something. So the vitamin D, vital. Still be careful. I'm not giving you permission to do anything stupid, but the vitamin D is vital to keep the immune system strong. So I take personally Dr. Joe Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source, nitric oxide, vitamin D, B complex, which is necessary for the nervous system. What? The nerves control the blood vessels and circulation is everything. And you want to do that. Now, if I have a cooked meal, I take digestive enzymes as well. Digestive enzymes help break down your food. Now, when you're a kid, you have lots of digestive enzymes. And as you get older, our digestive enzymes drop. It's called aging. And so by taking enzymes, it keeps the body young and keeps the body working properly. So digestive enzymes are important if you have a cooked meal. Now, if I eat something raw, which we're going to talk about later for a romantic dinner, if I eat something raw, I don't necessarily need the digestive enzymes. But if I'm eating cooked food, I do recommend that. Now, we're going to take a break in just a second. When we come back, we're going to start talking about desserts when it comes to romantic desserts. And then we're going to talk about other reasons why romance may not be working like it should. And then we're going to go into what you should be eating. So that's a little tease. In the business, we call that a tease. It's going to keep you hanging on. But we did talk about the nervous system, and I can't not address that because this is the one thing that nobody seems to address. And we have therapists, orthopedists, neurologists, neurosurgeons, sleep centers sending us patients all the time because when I talk about the nervous system, I hear it all the time from doctors. I never heard that before. That's amazing. So the brain, we said it earlier, the brain is sending messages along the nerves to every cell in the body. So if you pinch a nerve, it can hurt. But 90% of your nerves don't feel pain. You can have a pinched nerve and not know it. So from a chiropractic standpoint, we check the nerves that feel pain. In my team, we check the nerves that don't feel pain. And we can realign those bones, all 206 bones in the body if we have to take the pressure off the nerves. And so when it comes to neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, headaches, so many patients come to us. When it comes to romance, a lot of people are very happy when we get rid of their headaches. They're very pleased with us. So it's important that the nervous system is working properly. The nutrition has to be right. Eat a good diet. We're going to talk about that later. But Super Greens, Essential Source, nitric oxide, B complex, digestive enzymes, vitamin D, that's all on the website, drjoe.com. And if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, go to my website, make an appointment to come see us. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We want to be your doctors. So go to the website right now, drjoe.com, make your appointments. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. We'll be right back.
All right, so far so good.
Good, excellent. I like it. The camera down there is okay. You're right. I do kind of check it here and there, and it's working well. So
Yeah.
I hate to say you were right, but you were right.
That's what everyone, all the news, they always
Yeah.
have this on.
No, now I know. And when okay, you did great. You were scrolling with me. You were kind of keeping up with me because you know me. I jump around. So
This one's easy. This one was easy to scroll through since it's just bulleted lists. You just have to keep an ear out for when you start talking about what's
yeah,
actually
other
on the
things, right?
screen.
Yeah. Drift away for a moment.
So we don't have a lot of questions, but this was pretty impromptu.
Yes, it was.
I will say though, the reason why, yes, we are still live on purpose.
Oh no!
To you. The reason why we're going with this impromptu live stream is last night we did the live lecture, and my fault. My drivers weren't up to date, and I wasn't able to get the stream going in time. So I do apologize, guys, but we are here now, and this will archive as soon as it's over. So as soon as we are done, if you would share this so that some other people can see it,
Yes.
especially before tonight.
That's right. If you're listening live, it's Valentine's Day. So you got to share it tonight. Help all your friends. Help yourself. Help your dates.
So this woman's 13-year-old was diagnosed with anxiety and depression.
Yes.
What would you recommend?
I'm going to go out on a limb and guess she has digestive problems. She's probably got acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating. Now, again, if she's 13, she may not be expressing these things in front of you, but the stomach's job, we talked about that earlier, breaks proteins into amino acids. And the amino acid tryptophan becomes serotonin. We brushed on that earlier. So every case I've ever seen in my 35 years of seeing patients, whenever there's anxiety, depression, bipolar, any of those anxiety or brain-related issues, there's always an undiagnosed digestive issue. So if you go to my website, drjoe.com, we have some good articles on attention deficit disorder. And the first article actually on the website is GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease. Read that article. It talks about how we fix the stomach. We'll get her on some good foods, maybe some supplements. And most cases, we get amazing results with cases like this, especially for a 13-year-old, because all those hormones are going crazy as well. So we got to get her as back to normal as possible. So go to my website, drjoe.com, and set her up an appointment.
You ready?
We are ready whenever you are.
Okay.
You good, doctor?
I'm good. All right, folks, going back. Got to do the show again, so just keep watching. Send your questions to Garrett or send them to the website.
All right, we are rolling. And we're counting down.
Hey folks, Dr. Joe here. So glad you're spending a little time with us today. Good show today. Well, all the shows are good. We're talking about the food romance connection, how food affects your love life. And it's not just the act of your love life, but how it's affecting your hormones. So it's really important. And if you're just tuning in, this show's on my website, drjoe.com, and you can watch it there. We have over 1,000 hours of podcasts on the website as well. So if you like what you're hearing, I hope you do, I want you to go to my website and watch more and listen. We have audio, video, whatever you like, we have a way to get it to you. We have articles, we have a blog. Sign up for our newsletter because we send out a lot of good information on newsletter, especially if we do special lectures and things like that. We'll send it out in a newsletter and you'll know about it. So make sure that you follow us. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. We want to get this information to you and I need your help. Now that you're listening, you're going to be a warrior for me. You're going to be an ambassador and you're going to get this word out there because this is healthcare that really, really works. So back to food romance. I don't want to do too much of a commercial there. I promised before the break we'd talk about desserts. Now, let's assume you're going to have dessert. Now, I grew up in New Jersey, and a few things in life are as good as a New York-style cherry cheesecake. I don't know if you ever had it. It's off the chart. So I was normal. I used to like those things. I still like them. I just don't eat them. I mean, that doesn't mean I don't like them. But let's assume we're going to have a cheesecake or any dessert. It's going to have a lot of sugar in it. Sugar weakens your immune system. If you have dairy, it can lead to hardening of the arteries. Dairy increases estrogen. And here's the other thing too about dessert. Too much food equals lots of health problems. If you've studied the Christian Bible, we talk about the story of Adam and Eve. And Adam and Eve ate the apple and original sin was formed. If we study Sanskrit, which is the Indian scripture from India, they have a similar story. But the story doesn't go the same way ours does. It kind of ends a little differently. Eve was told, you can eat anything you want in the garden, just don't take more than you need. And when Eve ate the apple, that symbolized that Eve ate more than she should have. And so in Sanskrit, gluttony is original sin. And so many times in our lives, so many times in our days, we then commit the original sin of gluttony. We eat too much. So dessert is not something I think we should make part of our dinners because you've already ate dinner. And then what you're going to do is whatever you just had, you're going to throw sugar on top of it. And sugar digests pretty quickly, where heavy proteins take a long time. And that's where you start messing with your digestive system. And you don't want to mess with Mother Nature. And if you're old enough to remember the commercial, it's not nice to fool Mother Nature. So not a good idea. So gluttony, not a good thing. The fats in the dairy clump the red blood cells together. Now, let's assume you're going to have some chocolate. I'm actually going to say something nice about chocolate. How about that? You're going to like me for this. Chocolate has a chemical in it called phenylethylamines. Now, phenylethylamines, when they get into your brain, is the neurotransmitter, the chemical that's released when you're in love. So if you're eating chocolate, one of the reasons you like chocolate so much is because of the phenylethylamines. So if you're going to eat chocolate, here's the rule. Small amounts of organic dark chocolate. It's got to be dark. It has higher levels of phenylethylamines. It's got to be organic so it doesn't have the pesticides. And it's got to be dark without dairy products in it. And so how much chocolate is enough? About the tip of your thumb. That's how much chocolate you need. So if you have a little tiny piece of chocolate, that's going to release the phenylethylamines into your brain. You're going to get high. You're going to feel like you're in love. And I always say that that's why we men give women chocolate on Valentine's Day, because we know we screwed up. We don't know what we did. We just know we did. So if we give them chocolate one day, they'll eat the chocolate and go, oh, I kind of like him. So that's our little trick. Shouldn't have told you, girls. Ooh, now you're onto our secret. Darn it. So again, if you're going to have a dessert, maybe a small piece of chocolate, but not a big thing like cheesecake or cakes or pies or cookies or donuts or anything like that. Not a good idea from a physiological standpoint, from a neurological standpoint, and also you're just going to get fat and bloated. And we don't want that. Nobody wants to feel sexy when they're fat and bloated. So how about some bread and butter without dinner? We're talking about a romantic dinner and what you might consider a romantic dinner and why I'm disagreeing with you. So bread and butter, simple carbs and sugar. The bread is essentially eating sugar. Butter is a fat, increases your estrogen levels, and the estrogen makes you fat, which causes you to lay down more estrogen, or lay down fat, which produces estrogen, which causes you to lay down fat, and then also estrogen counteracts testosterone. So after dinner, I'm assuming nobody smokes anymore. I mean, I know some people do, but here's the thing: now everybody's vaping. And I just heard an article the other day, read an article the other day, that said cigarettes, we were wiping out cigarettes among teens and young adults. I'm so happy with it. But now they're vaping, which has totally blown away all the progress that we made. Vaping, not a good idea. I've done shows on this before. If you go to my website, drjoe.com, it's just as bad as smoking for different reasons. So not a good idea to have an after-dinner smoke or an after-dinner vape. It clogs up your blood vessels, and it stinks. And we don't want stink. One thing about romance is we want to make it pleasant. And speaking of that, in case I don't cover this later, candles. If you're going to light a candle for romantic mood, make sure that it doesn't have chemicals in it or artificial scents, because those scents oftentimes have phthalates, and phthalates are endocrine disruptors. They act like estrogen. So if you're going to light a candle, either scent-free, and try to make sure that it's either soy or beeswax. If it is scented, which it shouldn't be, it should be scented with pure essential oils only. So it's just another fun tip when we're talking about romance. Let's talk about some other causes of not tonight, dear. How about fatigue, stress? If you're stressed out, your body produces cortisol. If you're stressed out, you're stuck in what's called the sympathetic mode. There's two types of nerves. We talked about this earlier. The sympathetic speeds you up, and the parasympathetic slow you down. You can't function romantically in the sympathetic mode. You have to be in the parasympathetic mode. So that's a big issue. We talked about nerve damage or pinched nerves. That can affect your romantic capability. So if you have neck pain or back pain or shoulder pain, you may be pinching a nerve that goes to your organs. And especially the low back is the nerve supply to the reproductive organs. And that's a big problem I see in my practice, men and women. And we start adjusting them. They're so happy. I'll never forget years ago, there was a patient named Mary. And she came in, and she was a little overweight. And she said, Doc, we're trying to get pregnant. My husband and I are trying to get pregnant. And my husband didn't want me to come see you because we're spending all this money on the fertility doctors. He didn't want me to spend money anywhere else. But I've heard you speak, and I understand the nerve supply and blah, blah, blah. I said, okay. She goes, so don't tell him I'm here. So, and it's patient confidentiality. We couldn't tell anybody anyway. So Mary comes in for a couple of visits, and somewhere, I don't know, 5th, 6th, 7th visit, whatever, she comes in and she's just beaming. And I said, boy, you look so happy. What, are you pregnant? And she went, how did you know? And I said, really? She goes, I can't believe it. She goes, you were right. The nerve in my low back, because they had spent, I don't know, like $30,000, $40,000 on in vitro fertilization. Nothing was working. Once we started adjusting, it opened up the nerve supply to the organs, and we're assuming that's why she was able to get pregnant. So I said, you going to tell your husband? She goes, I have to. So she went home, told her husband, and he was not happy that she disobeyed him, so to speak, but he was thrilled that he was pregnant, that she was pregnant. So what she did is she crocheted a sweatshirt, knitted, whatever it was, and on it, it said, Dr. Joe got me pregnant. And she wore it like almost every day of her pregnancy. I was like, Mary, you can't do that. She goes, I just think it's hysterical. So if you ever see a t-shirt that says, Dr. Joe got me pregnant, this is the story behind it. Okay, I just had to clear my name here. So pinched nerves can affect the nervous system, which can affect the function of the organ. So please consider that for any organ. Heart, lungs, liver, spleen, colon, gallbladder, prostate, reproductive organs. You always got to check the nerve supply to the organ. It's like the light isn't working in a room. You can change the light bulb all day, but until you flip the switch on, it's not going to work. Drugs can take away your romantic drive, and that's a biggie too. So if people are taking medications, that can have an issue. So that's why in our office, I don't tell people to not take drugs. I try to get them well so that they don't need the drugs. And that's why we work so well with so many doctors around the world, because the doctors are like, Doc, I love your philosophy. Because some doctors are like, don't take the drugs, they're dangerous. No, yeah, well, they may be dangerous, but you may need them. Let's try to get you well enough so you don't need the medications. Infections, body odor, these are all issues that can affect romance as well, and that's why we try to get you healthy. So what can you do? Let's talk about some erotic foods you might want to consider adding to your diet. Asparagus and cucumbers. They're high in organic calcium and vitamin E and phosphorus, and that's going to increase your hormone production. So this is something you might want to consider. Hot peppers. Hot peppers are awesome when it comes to romance. Hot peppers are vasodilators. They open up your blood vessels. You talk about a hot night, well, there's actually some real meaning behind that. And so if you open up the blood vessels, increase the circulation, the more circulation you have, the more oxygen you have, the better things are going to work. How about avocados and artichokes? They're kind of creamy and sexy, but they're high in something called essential fatty acids. And celery, spinach, and figs, which are great because they alkalize the system. So when the body alkalizes, it works more efficiently. So we're talking about some foods that you can eat that are good for your romance. We talked earlier, I want to talk about something called beets and arugula. Beets and arugula, beets are high in nitrates. Now nitrates convert into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels. And so you hear commercials on TV, radio, talking about beet powder and take it, it's wonderful and it's great. Does it work? Yeah, it's okay. Arugula has multiple times more nitrates than beets. So if you have a beet and arugula salad with a ginger salad dressing, we'll talk about ginger in just a second, and I have a great ginger salad dressing, by the way, in my first book called Eating Right for the Health of It. I have a great ginger salad dressing in there. Two good ginger dressings. Now you're creating an actual physiological aphrodisiac food. It's going to get you frisky, and it's going to help with function as well. So nitrates convert to nitric oxide, which opens up the blood vessels, which is great. Now, if you have the nitrates and you put protein with them and you heat them, like bacon, for example, they have nitrates and nitrites. When you heat it with protein, it creates something called nitrosamines. Nitrosamines are carcinogenic, not what you want to eat. Okay? So that's, again, going to a more plant-based diet, a raw diet, because the raw food has enzymes in it. It's going to help with the romance and not fight the romance. Remember we said earlier, number one consumer of energy, romance. Number two consumer of energy, digestion. Hardest thing to digest, animal products. So let's go to a more plant-based diet. You're going to be pretty happy. Let's talk about ginger. Ginger and also a supplement called ginkgo biloba are vasodilators. They open up the blood vessels. Every morning in the winter, what I do is I take organic ginger, I peel it, and I put it in a food processor, and I cover it about halfway with lemon juice, and I puree the heck out of it until it's just like a pizza sauce, a puree. Then I take that and I put it in ice cube trays and freeze it. And every morning in the winter, I have a ginger tea. Take my ice cube, put it in a big cup, put a little stevia in there, some hot water, and that's how I start every day in the winter. Because it's a vasodilator, acts as an aphrodisiac too, that's not why I take it, but it's very good for you. It's anti-inflammatory as well. Asian or Korean ginseng can actually increase sperm production and testosterone. So there's some things you can take to help your testosterone levels. Oysters, they are high in zinc, which can help the prostate, but they're also bottom feeders. They live on the bottom and they have all these chemicals and steroids and heavy metals that are settled to the bottom. Strongly advise staying away from shellfish, absolutely positively. If you want to do zinc, eat some nuts. You're going to get zinc without all the toxic chemicals. Water. 8 glasses of filtered or distilled water. More oxygen, it purifies the blood, it thins the blood, better blood flow. What do we want? Remember, romance, blood flow is everything. Raw fruits and veggies have enzymes. They're for better assimilation of nutrients, and they have chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is the precursor of red blood cells. What that means is, in chlorophyll, the center molecule is magnesium. In a blood cell, red blood cell, the center molecule is iron. So your body needs magnesium to help you relax. So by eating vegetables, you're going to get the magnesium, and then if you eat something that is high in iron, things like vegetables that are green or red, it's going to help build red blood cells. How cool is that? So another reason why you want to be eating your fruits and vegetables. Very, very important. So we want to get the good foods into the body. And we talked about the nitric oxide earlier, and in case you're just tuning in, we have a supplement on our website, drjoe.com, and nitric oxide is one of them. And I take that every day, not necessarily for romantic function, but it increases the circulation to my brain, my heart, my lungs, my liver, my digestive system. Works great. I can't take it at night. It keeps me awake. I have to take it in the morning. I take Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source every day because that's the raw, they're mostly raw, but it's the minimum amount of nutrients that you need every single day. So Super Greens Essential Source on the website, drjoe.com. If you're not willing to do anything else, please take the Super Greens, the Essential Source. But I want you to do everything. Nitric oxide, very good for circulation. Vitamin D helps the immune system, helps build healthy bones. I take that in the winter. In the summer, I get sunlight. I make my own vitamin D. I take digestive enzymes. We talked about raw fruits and vegetables. I take those if I eat a cooked meal. I take digestive enzymes with a cooked meal, but I eat a lot of raw food. I eat about 60 or 70% of my diet raw. Nutritional yeast, something you really want to consider adding to your diet as well. Only a tablespoon a day is all you need. Actually, a teaspoon is all you need. It has beta-glucan, which helps the immune system. Other supplements you might want to consider before going to medications. Yohimbe. Yohimbe is a supplement that can help men function better. Whole food supplements like Super Greens and Essential Source are vital. But you got to check the nervous system, folks. If you're eating a great diet and you have pinched nerves, it's like putting really good gas in the car but not tuning it up. So if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, if you've ever been in a car accident, ever, if the car was damaged, you were damaged 100% of the time. So I'm begging you, if you've ever been in a car accident, come see us right away. But even if it was 50 years ago, the sooner you get to us, the better. So go to my website to make an appointment. We have offices in the Atlanta area, Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge, drjoe.com. We want to be your doctors. We want to help you get well and stay well. And so many people, millions, billions, are suffering needlessly when all they have to do is get their diet working properly, get their nervous system working properly, and fix their digestive system. So if you have acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating, that's certainly going to have an adverse effect on your love life because of the obvious effects, but also the stomach is not, and the digestive system is not absorbing nutrients, which is going to adversely affect your romance and your function of everything in your body. So stop suffering. Go to my website, drjoe.com. Make an appointment right now for your friends, your family, yourself, and your children. We want to be your doctors. We want to help you get well and stay well. So we covered a lot today about food and what to eat, what not to eat. I want to talk something else about, we're talking about neurology. I want to cover this before we run out of time. Gosh, it goes so quick. I want to talk about what is an erogenous zone. What are the parts of the body that are sensual? And what an erogenous zone is where nerves and blood vessels are close to the skin. And so let's think about some places. How about the nape of the neck? Okay, the ears, the elbows, inside the elbows, the back of the knees, even the armpit, the feet, the hands, the scalp. And also certain muscles are going to be more erogenously stimulated than others. These are the muscles that are stimulated by what's called the parasympathetic nerves. So let's assume I want to give you a massage. Okay, somebody wants to give you a massage, maybe not me. Somebody wants to give you a massage. I can rub your arms and it feels good, and I can rub your, I don't know, your back and it'll feel good. But when you rub somebody's shoulders, those are the trapezius muscles. Those are innervated by the spinal accessory nerve. And by rubbing the shoulders, you're stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system. You're getting into that relaxation mode. That's why when somebody rubs your shoulders, you go, oh, that feels so good. Oh, I'm so relaxed. That feels so wonderful. There's a reason why that muscle, it's a big muscle supplied by the parasympathetic nerve, the spinal accessory, and that'll help relax the body. So if you're going to give somebody a massage, work on those parasympathetic or those erogenous areas that we just talked about. And if you're going to use a massage oil, and we talked about candles too, please make sure they don't have any artificial chemicals in them. If it's an essential oil, a true essential oil, that's great. But candles, massage oils, many times they have these fake odors to them, and they're estrogen disruptors. They mess with the estrogen system. Not a good idea. Okay, so we don't want to do that. Now remember, gentlemen, most women don't consider ESPN a form of foreplay. So when it comes to romance, it's a good idea to sit down with the person you're with and say, what do you like? Maybe you both love ESPN, and that's great, and you love sports, and that's wonderful. But discuss it with them. Find out what they like, and it makes life a whole lot easier. It's all about communication. There's a great book, if you never read it, called The 5 Languages of Love. And if you've never read that book, I recommend you do. I have no association with the book or the author. I just think it's a great book. And it talks about different things that are people's buttons, their hot buttons. And it's touch, quality time, gifts, acts of service. Can't think of the other one right now. But anyway, some people like it if you give them compliments. Oh, words of affirmation. There you go. Words of affirmation. So if your love language is words of affirmation and I give you gifts, well, that's nice. But that's not your love language. It's not the thing that gets you excited. Now, it's not just for romance. This is for all relationships you deal with. So if my love language is words of affirmations and you're, say, let's go spend quality time together. It's important to me, but it's not the most important thing to me. Now, if your love language is gifts and I keep telling you you're beautiful, you're wonderful, you're great, you're smart, you're funny, it's okay. But if I bring you something silly like a pen that I got at a conference or something, it doesn't have to be an expensive gift. Okay? If your love language is touch, you might be the person that's always grabbing somebody's arm or always hugging somebody. It's your love language. There's nothing wrong. None of these are right or wrong. But when you understand a person's love language, it makes the relationship, any relationship, whether it's you and your coworkers, you and your friends, you and your kids, you and your mother, much better. And so it's really neat to figure out what the love language is, and then you can give the person what they want. It's very simple. With my staff, I try to do that. I'll ask them, what are your love languages? And they won't know what that is, and I give them the book or I give them the tapes. And then I try to get them to tell me. Some people are a little shy because it's a weird word, the love language. But it's what's the thing that you most appreciate. And that is really important when it comes to romance. Because remember, romance starts in your brain. And if the brain is working properly and the brain is stimulated, the rest of the body usually follows. And so you got to consider taking good care of your brain. We talked about foods. We talked about digestion. We talked about breaking proteins into amino acids and digestive enzymes. All this is going to start taking control of the brain. And you can also stimulate the brain with music. And there's certain music that is much more erotic or romantic than others. So something that has a slow, like the beat of a human heart. There's one band, Enigma, if you've never heard of them. They're amazing. And it has that slow beat to it. The body is full of nerve endings. So something like silk or satin, there's a reason why that's considered romantic, because it can stimulate the body. If it's summer, put a fan on. When a fan is on, the wind can stimulate your entire body. And that's pretty cool. And that works great. Oils are great. If you're going to do massages, that's awesome as well, because the oils can help stimulate the body as well. So we covered a lot today. We covered a whole lot of stuff today. And I just want to kind of recap before we run out, because I know a lot of you tune in and tune out and things like that. We talked about the foods you don't want to eat. You want to stay away from the really heavy foods when it comes to romance, because they're bloating, they cause the body to take a lot of energy to digest. Meats and dairy products, especially commercial ones, might have steroids, hormones, chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, genetically modified foods in them. So you probably want to stay away from those. A more healthy meal and a more romantic meal is something that's light. In fact, in my first book, Eating Right for the Health of It, we have well over 200 recipes. Now, not all of them would be considered romantic meals, but there's a ton of great foods in there. In fact, one of my favorites is Dr. Joe's avocado salad. It's Dr. Joe's signature salad. And it's an avocado, mango, tomato, basil salad with peppers in it. So it's vasodilating, it has the essential fatty acids in it, loaded with nutrients, it's raw, so it has the enzymes in it, off the chart spectacular. And that's one of my favorites. So if you don't know what to eat, you can get that book. And also, if you go to my website, drjoe.com, we have a great lecture that we did called The 7 Deadly Sins of Nutrition, the 7 foods you want to avoid. There's a follow-up, there's a companion audio to that. Just type it in the search engine and you'll find it. It's called So What Can I Eat? And there we talk about breakfast, lunches, dinner, snacks, parties, feeding kids, going grocery shopping. It's all there. And the cost for all that is no charge. I give you that as a gift. And on the website, we have over 1,000 hours of podcasts, including this show. It's on the website, drjoe.com. They're video and they're audio. So you can download them. It's on SoundCloud, so you can download them if you want to, work out to them. People all over the world, I get emails almost every day from people saying, Doc, I download it, I work out to it, I drive with it, I put it in the car when the kids are listening. It's so cute when little girls and little boys come in the office and they're so nervous. And they say, the parents will say, this is Bobby, he's your biggest fan, Dr. Joe. And the kids are just awestruck. Oh my gosh, I've watched you on TV, I've listened to you on the radio. But it's great to start instilling knowledge into their bodies when they're young, because now it's second nature to them. So in order to get well, and I love when kids say, I say, what do you need? What's the 3 things you need to get well? And kids say, the nervous system, the digestive system, and nutrition. My heart melts. I just want to collapse. I'm like Jello when they say things like that. But it's so important that you understand, whether it comes to romance or energy or feeling good or living longer, the 3 basic things you have to have: normally functioning nervous system, normally functioning digestive system, good nutrition. We touched on it earlier. If you pinch a nerve to an organ, that organ can't work. And if you're in pain, nobody's really feeling very romantic when they have a headache or neck pain or back pain or shoulder pain or their leg is a cramp or their feet are spasming up. Get it fixed. Stop suffering needlessly. The biggest complaint I get, why didn't I do this sooner? Dr. Joe, why did I suffer all these years? And my answer is always, I have no idea. I don't know. And I love this, and I hope you're not one of these people. Doc, I've been listening to you for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. I heard you lecture 30 years ago. I've just been the biggest fan of yours. I've read your books. I got your audios. Now we have the internet. I used to have cassette tapes, and now we did CDs. And they say, Dr. Joe, I'm your biggest fan. I've been following you for years. How long have you had the problem? Years. Why didn't you get it fixed sooner? I don't know. Folks, don't be one of those people. If you have problems, whatever it is, digestive issues, neck pain, back pain, nutrition issues, go to my website, drjoe.com, and make an appointment. We want to get you well and keep you well. And I know the show goes all over the world, but in the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. My team of doctors would love to work with you. I'd love to work with you. But the minimum things you should be doing is at least get the good foods in your body, something raw at every meal, salad, broccoli, cucumbers, tomatoes, avocados, salad. Try to stay away from the animal products. Go to a more plant-based diet. Supplements, the minimum amount of supplements you should be taking are Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. They're 2 powders. I mix them with coconut milk, almond milk. I had it right before I went on today. Off the chart amazing. And it's when people take it, they're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea this is what health should feel like. That's step 1. Then step 2, if you need circulatory issues, if you have circulatory issues, Dr. Joe's nitric oxide. Also be careful if you're on blood pressure medications, because if you take blood pressure medication, it can open up the blood vessels, increase circulation, but it can lower your blood pressure. And so if you're taking blood pressure medications and you start taking nitric oxide, monitor your blood pressure. If it goes too low, then you've got to give up the nitric oxide or give up the supplements, of course. Vitamin D, so important in the winter. You have to have that. Digestive enzymes, vital. B complex. Most of us don't get enough B vitamins. I take the B complex, and boy, you talk about getting energy. And then adrenal support, because the adrenal glands produce your sex hormones as well. So all those supplements are on my website, drjoe.com. Folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. The website again, drjoe.com. Thanks for tuning in. Happy Valentine's Day.
Good job.
All right, man. Oh, that's right. Got to say goodbye to you folks.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, folks. Otherwise, we just start taking the microphones off. Folks, on social media, thanks so much for tuning in. Do appreciate that. Any questions you have, go to my website, drjoe.com. Sunday night, 7 to 9 on WSB Radio, WSBradio.com, or on my website. We have our shows 7 to 9 every Sunday night and all archived at drjoe.com. Talk to you later.